Guys! Today I'm filming something that's completely different to normal, but it's something that takes quite a lot of time in my everyday life. So it's a big November book haul. I'm really hoping you guys enjoy this, and I'll try and do it every month. But basically, I did an English Lit degree and I love reading. It's a massive part of my life, and it's something that I don't even talk about on my blog very often because I've got a secondary blog where I post book reviews. It's not something that I invest anywhere near as much time in as my main blog or as my YouTube, but it's something that I'm kind of starting to merge a little bit with my blog. I'm never going to be posting a review of every single book I read on my blog, but I'm going to be doing this November book haul on my blog as well. So basically this month I've been having a really tough time in terms of my mental health. I've really struggled going to work, and I've been in tears trying to get out of the house and everything like that. I don't know why it is. I think it's because I did some really long weeks at work and I was just so knackered and mentally drained. I didn't have enough time to do my normal self-care routines, and it just kind of all got a bit on top of me. So what I'd been doing is, on my way to work, I've basically been picking up a book or two, mostly from the charity shop that I walk past every day to work, which is a killer, but a couple from WH Smith. And I've kind of been using that as a way to reward myself for actually making it into work rather than buying myself sweets or something, which is what I usually do. So first up is Frozen Charlotte by Alex Bell. This, obviously you can see, is part of the Zoella book club. I watched her video all about her book club and I really wanted to read pretty much all of the books. They sounded amazing, and before I bought this book I honestly cannot remember the last time that I bought a brand new book from a bookshop because they're just so expensive. So you can see that this one was half price, and I'm pretty sure all three of the ones that I actually bought were half price. So this is the blurb. It says, Dunvegan's School for Girls has been closed for many years. Converted into a family home, the teachers and students are long gone, but they left something behind. Sophie arrives at the old schoolhouse to spend the summer with her cousins, brooding Cameron with his scarred hand, strange Lilius with her fear of bones, and Piper, who seems just a bit too good to be true. And then there's her other cousin, the girl with a room full of antique dolls, the girl that shouldn't be there, the girl that died. And it comes with a warning that says it's not for younger readers, so I imagine it is a bit spooky. I've not really read any horror books, so if this is a horror book it will probably be one of my first ones. I've read a lot of gothic novels, like original ones, but I've never read any kind of modern text like this, so I'm quite excited. Next up is Station 11 by Emily St. John Mandel. This is something that you can see I obviously bought in my local charity shop, but I'm pretty sure it's brand new because there's no marks on the spine. I haven't read a dystopian novel in ages, so this kind of called out to me, and I really like the kind of bold and simple cover. So the blurb says, what was lost in the collapse? Almost everything, almost everyone, but there is still such beauty. One snowy night in Toronto, famous actor Arthur Leander dies on stage while performing the role of a lifetime. The same evening, a deadly virus touches down in North America. The world will never be the same again. 20 years later, Kirsten, an actress in the Travelling Symphony, performs Shakespeare in the settlements that have grown up since the collapse. But then her newly hopeful world is threatened. If civilization was lost, what would you preserve, and how far would you go to protect it? So I'm watching The Walking Dead at the moment, and that's obviously a bit of a dystopia, There's zombies everywhere. So I'm quite excited to see what this kind of take on a deadly virus is like. Next up we've got a classic. It's The Woman in White by Wilkie Collins. I'm feeling a bit intimidated by this book because it is almost 700 pages long. But it's something that I've heard a lot about. A lot of people on my course at uni had read it, and it's meant to be really good. Again, this was a charity shop buy. I picked it up for £1.50, so, and it's also got like no marks on the spine, so I don't think it's been read. The blurb says, The Woman in White is the first and greatest sensation novel. Walter Hartwright's mysterious midnight encounter with a strange woman draws him into a vortex of crime, poisoning, kidnapping and international intrigue. The novel is dominated by two of the finest creations in all Victorian fiction. Marion Halcombe, dark, mannish, yet irresistibly fascinating, and Count Fosco, the sinister and flamboyant Napoleon of crime. A masterwork of intricate construction, The Woman in White set new standards for suspense and excitement and achieved sales which topped even those of Dickens, Collins's friend and mentor. So I'm a big Dickens fan, I'm a big fan of Victorian fiction, and I'm really excited to see like what kind of new aspects this brought into Victorian fiction. Next up is something completely different to that. It's Robert Galbraith's The Cuckoo's Calling. If you didn't know already, Robert Galbraith is the pseudonym for J.K. Rowling, which she took up after she finished writing the Harry Potter novels, because she didn't want like her new novels to be associated with that and the expectations, etc, etc. So this is pretty like nice and clean as well. So this says, when a troubled model falls to her death from a Mayfair balcony, it is assumed that she has committed suicide. However, her brother has his doubts and calls in private detective Cormoran Strike to investigate. Strike is a war veteran, wounded both physically and psychologically, and his private life is in disarray. The case gives him a financial lifeline, but it comes thus at a personal cost. The more he delves into the young model's world, the darker things become, and the closer he gets to terrible danger. So this is the first in a series that J.K. Rowling's written, and I don't read very many crime books, but I watch a lot of crime-based TV shows, so I'm looking forward to seeing what this brings and to see if it's like written as well as Harry Potter, but I don't think it will be. So this is what I've got next. This is another one from the Zoella book club, and again it was half price. I think what WH Smith is doing is putting one up for half price every week, a different one. So they're all £4 when they're on half price. This is probably the one that I'm most excited about from her book club collection, and this is the blurb. So, I regret to inform you that I have had to take my own life. This decision has been a long time coming and was mine alone to make. I know it will cause you pain, and for that I'm sorry, but please know that I needed to end my own pain. This has nothing to do with you and everything to do with me. It's not your fault. Meg. Cody and Meg were inseparable, best friends for life. They knew everything about each other, or Cody thought they did. But how well do you ever really know your best friend? And what do you do when they choose to leave you behind? So I'm really excited to see how this book handles mental health issues, how it deals with the topic of suicide, and what it kind of says about the people that are left behind afterwards. So I was really excited to see that there was such a like broad range of books in the Zoella book club, and yeah, this is something that I'm really excited about, and it's been reviewed by the author of The Perks of Being a Wallflower, which if you haven't read you should go and read. It discusses mental health issues in a really fab way. So next up is a bit of a random one. It's one I kind of just picked up because I like the cover. That's really bad, isn't it? But it's called The Last Days of Rabbit Haze by Anna McPartlin, and it was only £1. It's obviously been read before, but I don't really mind. I just really like the front cover, and I always judge a book by its front cover, and that's really bad, but I just can't help myself. So this is the blurb. Here is a truth that can't be escaped. For Mia Rabbit Haze, life is coming to an end. Rabbit Haze loves her life, ordinary as it is, and the extraordinary people in it. She loves her spirited daughter, Juliet, her colourful, unruly family, the only man in her big heart, Johnny Fay. But it turns out the world has other plans for Rabbit, and she's okay with that, because she has plans for the world too, and only a handful of days left to make them happen. Here is a truth that won't be forgotten. This is a story about laughing through life's surprises and finding the joy in every moment. So I'm thinking it might be a bit similar to Me Before You, if you've read that, and I'm not sure I'm emotionally prepared to read it because it sounds like it's going to be a bit of a tearjerker. Then we have another classic, which is The Moonstone by Wilkie Collins. This was £2, and this was something that I was either definitely meant to read, it was on my reading list for uni, or it was recommended during the course. Either way, I didn't read it. I'm not sure if I ever owned it, or if I did and I just gave it to a charity shop, assuming I'd never read it. But this year I've kind of given myself a target of trying to read all of the things off of my uni reading lists that I didn't read. And at some point I might look up other modules that I didn't take but wanted to take and have a look at the books for them, because I really want to kind of read more classics, like read things that make up the English literature genre. This is one of the very first crime novels, if not the first, so this is the blurb. The Moonstone, a priceless Indian diamond which has been brought to England as spoils of war, is given to Rachel Verinder on her 18th birthday. That very night, the stone is stolen. Suspicion then falls on a hunchbacked housemaid, on Rachel's cousin Franklin Blake, on a troupe of mysterious Indian jugglers, and on Rachel herself. The phlegmatic Sergeant Cuff is called in, and with the help of Betteridge, the Robinson Crusoe reading loquacious steward, the mystery of the missing stone is ingeniously solved. So this is another Victorian novel, and it's something that I've heard a lot about during my course, but hasn't been spoiled for me, or if it was, I was half asleep during the seminar and I don't remember. Next up is a more contemporary novel. It's a young adult teen fiction novel. It's the second in the series of Abandon by Meg Cabot. It's called Underworld. I loved Abandon. I was a big fan of Meg Cabot when I was younger. Like, The Princess Diaries were my life when I was about 14. So this is something that's a little bit darker, but still really fun to read. It's all about a girl that's kind of pursued by death. So it's not really a hardback, but it kind of is, because it's got the blurb on the inside. So it says, Pierce isn't dead, not yet, but John Hayden, Lord of the Underworld, has taken her to the place where the spirits of the deceased gather. He says it's for her safety, to protect her from the vengeful furies, but could he have other reasons for keeping her close? Pierce might be safe in the underworld, but she soon learns that the people she loves back on Earth are not. Can she convince John to release her in order to save her family, or will the price he asks her to pay be too high? So at the end of Abandon, I think there was the first chapter of this, and it was so annoying when I finished it, and I just really wanted to read this straight away, but I just ended up like not going out and buying it, and I read Abandon about a year ago now, maybe less, maybe about 6 months ago, so it's still not too far gone in my mind, but I might have to do a kind of little wiki search of the synopsis. And then the next one is another one that I got from the charity shop. It's a little bit well loved, but I don't really mind. So it's The Last Letter from Your Lover, and it's written by Jojo Moyes, who wrote Me Before You, which kind of broke my heart a little bit. I haven't seen the film yet, but I really want to, and the book was just so different to anything I've ever read. It showed disability from a completely new perspective that I'd never even considered, and if you haven't read it, I would definitely recommend reading it. I enjoyed her writing as well. I thought it was really nice and it was easy to read. I didn't find myself kind of waiting for ages for something to happen, and it wasn't too rushed at all, so I'm hoping that this is as good. So the blurb says, 1960, Jennifer Sterling lives a life of luxury with her wealthy husband. On paper, she has it all. In reality, she's dangerously devoted to another man who's asking her to risk everything. 2003. Ellie Holworth works as a journalist for a national newspaper and is in love with a charming writer. On paper, she should be happy. In reality, her career is foundering and the man who holds her heart belongs to someone else. When Ellie stumbles upon a set of passionate love letters from the 1960s, both women's lives entwine, and as she pieces together the fragments of the past romance, what she unearths dramatically transforms her life, and Jennifer's in the process. So I'm really hoping that it's kind of split up. Oh, I can see that it is. It's all... There's kind of different fonts, different things in it, so I'm quite excited to see, like, how do I explain this? I love it when they break up the text with, like, the letters will be in a different font, a different format and things like that, just to make it a bit more lively. And this is the last one, I promise, so I have bought quite a few books in November. But it's the last one that I've bought from the Zoella book club, and it's called If I Was Your Girl. This one was like, sorry, that's a bit glary. This one was my second favourite from, like, looking at the list and reading Zoella's reviews. So it says, the blurb says, Amanda Hardy is the new girl at school. Like everyone else, all she wants to do is make friends and fit in. But Amanda is holding back, even from Grant, the guy she's falling in love with. Amanda has a secret. At her old school, she used to be called Andrew, and secrets always have a way of getting out. So I'm not sure if I've ever read a book all about a transgender person. I might have done. I think I might have read one, but I definitely haven't read very many. So I'm really excited to see how the author, who's Meredith Russo, actually tackles this problem, and kind of like the ways in which it's discussed, and the outcome of Amanda revealing her secret, or her secret being revealed. So I think this is a really important book that's going to be coming out for young adult readers and adults as well, to see what it's like to be a teenager who has gone through a gender change. So that is basically my entire book haul. I'm really sorry that I wasn't looking at the camera for most of it because I was trying to read the blurbs. I hope I've kind of inspired you to pick up some books, or if you've read any of these before, please tell me what you think about them in the comments. I'd love to hear, like, some little personal reviews, and if you like this kind of video, please let me know as well, so that I can film like a monthly or every other monthly book haul video for you guys, where I basically do this, talk about all the books I've bought and read you the blurbs, and there should be like a good range like there has been this month. So please give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed this video, and subscribe to see more videos like it. So thank you guys for watching. I will see you soon. Goodbye.